Okay, so we're on to our next lesson in Stumbling to Success, Lessons Learned in Communicating Data for Impact. This one, I wanted to spotlight a particular issue that I've seen sort of over and over again, and it's been remarkable sometimes that regardless of the setting in which I work, whether it's very local, whether it's working with someone whose work is national in scope or statewide in scope or even international in scope, when I ask them how are they going to present the data findings, often what I end up hearing is that they want something that's going to be useful to present in a face-to-face setting. That is, they're going to be right in front of the person and they're going to want something for that. And that's really interesting for me because we're in this almost this digital arms race right now with data visualization. And there's nothing wrong with it, by the way, but we're at this place right now where, say, news outlets are doing the best they can to create these wonderfully colorful, interactive, amazing animated data visualizations. And their purpose, of course, is different. They're trying to raise broad awareness of something. And so the tools that they should use should be digital. That makes sense. But often when you're on the ground, rolling up your sleeves, doing the work, what you want is something that you can hand out, something that you can use in that face-to-face setting. So what I find is that we need to spend a lot of time designing for face-to-face use cases. And so the important point here is that, like I say here, the person or individuals that you may want to reach, they very well may be standing right in front of you when you need to reach them. And think about that, because if that's the case, do you want something that's digital? Is it going to feel awkward, for example, for you to open up your tablet or your computer screen and share something like that? Or do you want something that you can hand out to them or point to, something that is physical, that they can touch, that they can feel? Um, that's what we're talking about here. And I wanted to show you a few examples of what you can do on this front, because there are certainly things you can do. Uh, First, we've talked a little bit before about this notion of fact sheets and handouts. I've even heard it described as sometimes when people go to meetings, they'll have placemats, data placemats, like a placemat setting, which I love that idea, that you can see the data as you're sitting down for that meeting. I'll just show you a quick example here of, and I think I may have showed this one before actually too. This is an example of a tool that I have used before with clients. It's called a persuasive narrative. It's a story-based tool that absolutely incorporates data. But a persuasive narrative is focused on telling a story that provides a problem, humanizes a problem, excuse me, and then provides a solution as well. Now, what I find with these is when clients want something like this, they want something that they can have for outreach that they're going to be doing in a face-to-face setting. So for example, they want something that's, in this case, this is a printed fact sheet. This is the front page, this is the second page, and they want something that can be useful in that kind of setting. So this is one example of how they can provide data that's useful, that they can hand out, that they can speak to. They can be relating this story as they're showing it. It's just one example of that. I wanted to show another example as well. It's been interesting to me that some of my clients have been talking about data posters. And this notion also can apply. I've been hearing some people talk about street murals. That goes a little bit far out, but this notion that data can be expanded and that you can look at it on a much broader scale than like a fact sheet or a computer screen or something along those lines. So I wanted to share an example of this because I've really been interested in this notion that you really can do this. So one of my clients, what they had done is they created a series of posters that they were going to be using in meetings. And these posters, I'm showing some examples right here, uh, they provided these on easels at the meeting. And what they asked people to do is they asked people to come to that meeting, review the posters. I think this was taking place before the meeting. And they asked them to write their comments about the data. Maybe they had questions about the data. Maybe the data made them realize something about a policy or an intervention that they could pursue. And they wanted these individuals to provide those comments on the posters. So at the same time that the people are reviewing data as a group, they are also providing comments as a group, and people can see what each other are saying. And I thought that was a really effective way, both to incorporate everyone's feedback and also to get some group response to what's going on and what people are thinking. So the last one that I wanted to talk about here is, it's kind of, in some ways, it's a name given to what I was just sharing in terms of a group of data posters. It's this notion of a data walk or a data gallery. And that's really, I've been hearing a lot about that recently. There's an article that the Annie Casey Foundation published on this very subject. Um, and they have a video about it too. It's this idea that you can bring people together in a setting and you can hang the data on a wall, like it's a gallery, and encourage conversation. Sometimes you can even have like a scavenger hunt. You can say, look for this or look for that. And you can make it sort of a fun activity. Again, another example of how you can take data and make it useful in face-to-face settings. That's all we have for this particular installment. As always, if you want these slides, have questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. For the next installment next week, we'll focus on why having more data isn't actually always better. But until then, I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I look forward to hearing your comments. Thank you.